Me now from Cairo, Egypt, is Dr. Ali Aboudouane. He is the Libya Country Director for the International Rescue Committee, and we appreciate you being with us. Look, we all are just absolutely horrified at the devastation that we're seeing. Help us understand the infrastructure here, everything that's been damaged. I mean, this is a large coastal port when we talk about Derna. It is likely completely destroyed. What are even the survivors dealing with now?
Yeah, good morning, and thank you for having me on this show. Indeed, it is a massive disaster. It's basically, it has been dubbed by some on the social media as being Libya's 9/11. I think the response should be designed accordingly. What happened in Derna, obviously, is the most significant part of what of the whole emergency situation. But there are other locations that have been affected by the floods as well. I mean, in Derna specifically, we've seen the two dams that collapsed. That basically, this is the real cause of the massive damage to the city and the casualties. But there are other locations in Marj, in Bayda, in Shahhat, in eastern Libya, basically, that have been also affected. What we're dealing now with is basically the priority is being given to search and rescue operations. Obviously, the window of the 48 to 72 hours, to find survivors is closing down very quickly. So I renew, I'm adding my call to other calls to the international community to support search and rescue operations at this stage. This is the most critical thing that needs to happen right now so that we maximize the chances of finding survivors. Otherwise, we're dealing with, thousands of families uprooted from their houses. So they have to live in displacement, not for a short period of time. We're not talking about weeks. We're talking about long-term displacement. Given the status of the infrastructure in the city, I think that reconstruction will need some time. So the international community and the aid agencies need to be prepared to deal with a long-term displacement.
In terms of that long-term displacement, how difficult will that be given the political structure in Libya? I mean, as you said, even when they try and sort out the rescues, try and help people who likely are now stranded and wondering where their next meal is going to come from, perhaps need medical help. How do you deal with all of that in the weeks and months to come, given, the politics, the complicated political situation in Libya?
Well, obviously, there are very good reasons why Libya was included in the Global Fragility Act voted by the U.S. Congress, 2 years ago. I do think that the fragility in Libya in general, whether coming from the political context, but also from governance issues, infrastructure issues, the economic model, etc. So you have several elements or buckets to how fragility is being defined in Libya. The other thing why Libya is important to deal with is that there are a lot of subversive actors in Libya at this stage. Derna itself was occupied by ISIS for 5 years. It was liberated only in 2019. And terrorist groups are still around. Derna has been liberated. I think a lot of Libyans sacrificed their lives to liberate Derna. But this doesn't mean that the problem is away. Terrorist groups are still active in Libya. You have Russian mercenaries still in Libya. So a lot of subversive groups would definitely like to see the response being less than what needs to happen, and therefore try to re-establish themselves in that part of Libya.